Welcome to the deep dive. You know, you recently shared some really interesting information with us about Rescue Sim.
Oh, yes, the online platform.
Exactly, for first responders. And, well, what struck us was its potential, to maybe tackle some of those persistent challenges in training.
Definitely some tricky areas there.
So for this deep dive, our mission is really to unpack what Rescue Sim actually is, how it works in practice, and what are the core advantages, especially for first aid and vehicle extrication training.
Right.
We've got some material from their website, descriptions, and features, so that should guide us. Let's get started.
Sounds good. Yeah, looking through that material, what really jumped out was their focus on blended learning.
Blended learning.
It's not just one thing. It's a mix.
Yeah.
You've got your basic first aid, the everyday stuff, but then also the really technical vehicle extrication side. And what's interesting is how they seem to be trying to connect the theory and the practical side of things.
Okay, blended learning, we hear that term a lot. But how does Rescue Sim actually make it, more effective than just, say, reading a manual and then doing some drills?
That's a fair question. Their secret sauce seems to be this distinctive interactive approach they talk about. It's not passive.
Not passive.
No. Think about it. Instead of just reading about stabilizing a car, you might be actually using virtual tools, making choices in a simulation.
Ah,
The website hints at things like, assessing damage virtually, planning your steps, and that active part, well, it's really crucial, isn't it?
yeah, it sounds like it.
Because, studies show you just remember things better when you do them, especially in these high-pressure jobs where you need it instantly.
So it's more than just flipping through a digital textbook. It's about doing, even if it's virtual doing.
Exactly.
Now, thinking about who this helps,
Mhm.
it seems like it could be useful at different points in a responder's career.
Precisely. It looks like it's built to support the whole training cycle. For the brand new people, it can build that basic understanding before they even get to the hands-on stuff,
Right, preloading the theory.
which could speed things up. Then for the experienced folks, maybe it's a way to keep skills sharp, skills they don't use every single day.
Good point.
And importantly, it gives a standard way to, check and validate what people know.
Okay, validation, that's huge. How does Rescue Sim handle that part?
Well, they've built assessment tools right in. There's an assessment mode.
Assessment mode.
Yeah, it's like the training exercises, but crucially, without the step-by-step help, you have to apply what you learned, basically.
Okay, so it tests you properly.
And if you get through it clean, no errors, no hints, you get a certificate, which is, a concrete measure of competence. Very useful for everyone involved.
That does sound much more objective. Now, one thing that really caught my eye was how it tackles the logistics.
Yeah.
Training teams that are spread out all over the place. Can you expand on that?
Oh, absolutely. Think about a typical fire department or EMS service. People are scattered, right? Getting everyone together for training is, well, it's a big deal.
Time, travel, costs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you need rooms, equipment, maybe even scrap cars for extrication. That stuff isn't always easy to come by.
Especially for smaller departments, I imagine.
Precisely. Rescue Sim, because it's online, it cuts down the need for all those physical things. A rural department, maybe without a dedicated training center or easy access to scrap vehicles, this could really open up access to quality training. It kind of levels the playing field.
That's a really powerful point, democratizing access, like you
Yeah.
said. So taking that a step further, how does it fit into the overall training picture? Does it replace the old ways or work with them?
It really seems designed to slot into a blended strategy, not necessarily replace, but enhance.
Okay.
It can streamline things, handle some of the basic learning and the testing online, which then frees up that valuable face-to-face time for the really complex stuff, the hands-on practice.
So making the in-person time more effective?
Right. Saves time, but also it could let training providers reach more organizations because they aren't so tied down by physical resources.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've got a good handle on what it is, the problems it's trying to solve. Now, let's get down to the nuts and bolts. How does someone actually use it? What's the experience like?
Well, from what we can see, it seems pretty straightforward. You register, get into the system, and then you can pick the training modules you need.
Okay.
And this is where those 3 different modes come in.
3 modes.
Yeah.
Right. Let's break those down.
Okay, first is training mode. This is your main learning zone. Step-by-step guidance, lots of information, walks you through everything, like having a virtual teacher there whenever you need it.
Ah, okay. So self-paced, interactive course material.
Pretty much, yeah. Accessible anywhere, anytime. Then you've got assessment mode.
The one you mentioned for certification.
Exactly. Builds on the training, but strips away the help. No prompts, no hints. It's purely about testing if you understood and can apply it. And success, remember, leads to that certificate.
That really does test your recall, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Forces you to pull the information out yourself.
It does. And the third one is trainer mode. This seems more flexible, designed for instructors.
How so?
It lets them place virtual items, set up their own custom scenarios within the simulation.
Oh, interesting.
So you could imagine a trainer using it in class, maybe on a big screen, to show different techniques or lead a discussion about a specific crash scene they've set up.
So it's not just for individual study, it's a tool for group work, for instructors to lead sessions. That's quite versatile.
It seems so, yes. It connects that individual online learning with group-based, instructor-led teaching.
Okay, clear picture of how it works now. Let's switch focus to the payoff.
Yeah.
What are the actual tangible benefits for, the fire departments, the responders themselves?
They list several key ones. First is pre-course training, building that foundation before the hands-on part.
Right, the preloading we talked about.
Yeah. Candidates show up already having some grasp of the basics. This could really speed up the on-site training. You're not wasting that valuable practical time on pure theory.
That efficiency boost could be massive, especially with tight schedules.
Absolutely. Second benefit they mention is primary training. For some places, maybe smaller ones or those with big logistical hurdles, Rescue Sim could potentially be the main way they deliver certain training modules.
Really, as the core platform.
Potentially,
Yeah.
yeah. Then they supplement with targeted hands-on sessions when they can. It offers flexibility.
So it's adaptable. Not all or nothing. It scales.
Exactly. Then there's post-course training. Learning shouldn't stop after the initial class, right?
Definitely not.
So Rescue Sim lets people keep learning, explore more scenarios, maybe cover topics that weren't covered in depth on site because of time limits, continuous development.
That ongoing learning piece feels really vital for staying current. Things change fast.
They do. Which leads nicely into the assessment and certification benefit again.
Right, the automated part.
Yes. Standardized, automated way to check learning. It confirms the training stuck, but also, importantly, it cuts down the admin work for trainers. No manual marking, certificate printing, distribution.
That admin time saved could free up instructors for more direct teaching or planning.
You'd think so. Another advantage, refresh knowledge. These emergency skills, well, they fade if you don't use them.
Use it or lose it.
Pretty much. Rescue Sim lets people jump back in anytime, run through a scenario, refresh that knowledge so they stay prepared, even for situations they haven't seen in a while.
That on-demand refresher.
Yeah,
Yeah, that could be a real game changer for readiness.
we think so. And finally, they stress it's cost-effective. By making the most of that blended approach, optimizing the expensive on-site time, organizations could see real savings. Travel, equipment wear and tear, maybe even instructor hours.
Okay, so weighing all that up, the better learning, the logistics help, the admin savings, the cost side.
Yeah.
What's the big picture takeaway?
Well, fundamentally, it looks like Rescue Sim is offering a way to train that's safer. You're not putting people or equipment at unnecessary risk, initially more cost-effective and really customizable. It's
Yeah.
about using tech to better prepare responders for those incredibly tough situations they face.
Creating a more prepared, more resilient response force through smarter training.
That seems to be the goal, yes.
Okay, we've covered the platform, the benefits.
Hmm.
What about the actual learning content? What kinds of modules or resources are in Rescue Sim?
They seem to group it into three main types. First, you have scenarios.
Okay.
These sound like the big ones. Full end-to-end simulations of a vehicle rescue takes you from the very start, assessment, stabilization, right through to getting the patient out safely.
The whole process.
Exactly. And these are available in all three modes, training, assessment, and trainer mode, so you can learn it, test yourself on it, or use it in a group setting.
That makes sense. You're using the same core content in different ways. Creates a consistent experience.
It should, yeah.
Yeah.
The second type is incidents. These sound more focused.
Incidents, how are they different?
Think of them like specific case studies. They might present a certain type of vehicle, like an EV, or a particular crashed situation. The key thing here is trainers can annotate them.
Annotate, like draw on the screen.
Sort of, yeah. Highlight damage, point out hazards, discuss different ways to approach it, all within the simulation. It becomes a visual discussion tool.
So less about running the whole rescue, more about analyzing specific points or challenges.
Exactly. A deeper dive into specific moments or problems. And the third type is training modules.
Okay.
These are even more focused, zeroing in on specific skills or knowledge areas, things like vehicle stabilization techniques or safety procedures for electric vehicles or how to use a specific rescue tool properly.
Got it. So if I needed to brush up just on, say, dealing with airbags, there'd be a specific module for that.
That's the idea, targeted learning. And like the scenarios, these modules are also available in all three modes. So learn, test, or teach that specific skill.
Very efficient way to handle skill-specific training.
It seems designed that way, yes, for focused learning and making sure those essential, often life-saving skills are sharp.
Right. We've really dug into Rescue Sim here, haven't we?
Mm.
Covered what it is, how you use it, the pros, the content. To sort of wrap this up for everyone listening, what are the absolute key takeaways?
I'd say, in essence, Rescue Sim looks like a really adaptable, engaging online tool for first responders, helping them learn and reinforce crucial skills, especially around vehicle extrication and first aid.
Yeah.
And it seems to directly tackle some big traditional training headaches. Reaching spread out teams, needing lots of physical gear, making sure knowledge actually sticks. It uses that interactive virtual approach to get around those.
So it's about using tech smartly to make training easier to access, more effective, and, well, ultimately making responders better prepared for calls where, every second counts.
That sums it up nicely, I think. Precisely.
It really makes you think, though. Seeing how platforms like Rescue Sim could change training in emergency response. So it begs the question, doesn't it? How could similar tech, this kind of interactive, immersive learning, shake things up in other critical fields?
Good question.
Areas like maybe complex surgery in healthcare or pilot training in aviation, even large-scale disaster management.
Mhm.
Could this model help us move beyond just classroom learning and PowerPoints to build, well, deeper understanding and real preparedness across more professions? It's definitely something interesting to chew on.
Absolutely. The potential for this kind of immersive, flexible learning, it really could transform how we approach training and skills in a lot of vital areas. Definitely something to watch.